All right, so now you see the thumbnail. Democracy killed Christ. Democracy, which is represented by a donkey, in other words, a jackass. It's a way of government for jackasses, contrary to the republic as we know, which is represented by an elephant known for wisdom or memory. You know, they say elephants have good memories. So in this video, I'm going to take this opportunity to go over the differences between democracy and republic. Not too far into that topic, but I'm going to show how democracy killed Christ and what a republic is. I want to take this opportunity to also go into the Daniel statute to show how Rome was over Israel in the first place, which led to Christ being killed by democracy. So let's dive right into it. Daniel chapter 2, starting at verse 32. And I quote, because I did not write the book of Daniel. This image's head was of fine gold, his breasts and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. We've heard this many a times. However, the problem with this is that we've only heard it 1,000 times. This is not going to be for everybody, I already know. But for those that like to exercise critical thinking and have a passion for precepts and proof, this is going to be designed for you. So for all the newcomers out there, let's start with the head of gold. Daniel 1:1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, emphasis on that, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. This is him coming in, king number 1, king of Babel. This is very ABC 1, 2, 3. Now we jump a chapter over, chapter 2, verse 38, and it says, whereso the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heavens has he given into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. The you is Nebuchadnezzar. That's why I have these two precepts on the screen at the same time. Okay, it's in writing. So we have established that Nebuchadnezzar is the first king, the king of Babylon. As we go to chapter 5 from the top, verse 1, it says, Belshazzar the king, emphasis on that name, made a great feast of 1,000 of his princes, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the gold and silver vessels which, here we go, his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple. That's it in relevant part. So we see that this is a father and son kingdom. We have the father Nebuchadnezzar and the son Belshazzar. These are the two heads of the nation of Babylon. It's in writing. We just read it. I can't be a bug out for reading what Daniel wrote, because that would mean Daniel's a bug out. Let's move forward. Now we go to Daniel 2:39. It says, and after you, we know that the you is Nebuchadnezzar, shall arise another kingdom inferior to you. And that's what we're going to deal with now. The inferior kingdom after Nebuchadnezzar. So this is going to be a transfer of rulership, one nation to another. Let's see how it came to pass. Daniel 5:28. Barak, your kingdom is divided and given to, emphasis on the Medes and the Persians. That's the next kingdom. Daniel's got to be the bug out, because this is not sounding like NATO, EU, and all this stuff that Negroes make up. Let's move forward. Let's go to verse 30. And that night was Belshazzar the king of the Chaldeans. That's another way of saying Babylonians and Assyrians. He was slain. Who killed him? and Darius the Mede took the kingdom. That's emphasis on that. So the next kingdom is the Medes and Persians. This is very just connect the dots. Very connect the dots. It's in writing, so we don't have to make up NATO, EU, woody whoop, the UN, all this stuff that's false that people are saying. All right. So now we just have to see how many heads that the Persians had. It's also in the book of Daniel. Again, I'm just quoting, reading, and letting Daniel do the work. Tapping the gas on this one, all right? It says in Daniel 11:2, and now will I show you the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. So we see here that there are 4 kings, aka heads, in the Persian Empire. It's in writing, and I did not write this book. I'm just quoting. Daniel's got to be the bug out. So as we move forward, we're going to go back to Daniel 2:39. So it says, emphasis, and another 3rd kingdom of brass. So we have another transfer of rulership. Let's see how this one came to pass. First Maccabees 1:1 from the top. And it happened after that. Alexander, son of Philip, emphasis on that name, the Macedonian who came out of the land of Kittim, had what? Smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes. Wow. He got down like he got in. That he, Alexander, son of Philip, reigned in his stead, meaning instead of him, the first over Yawan, right? So a quick side note, this says the first over Yawan. Now the last time I checked, Yawan is a descendant of Japhet, so this has nothing to do with Edom. I know a lot of people see, even in the KJV they see Greek. Oh, that's an Edomite. Well, but then how is a Greek an Edomite? When in this quote unquote version, it directly expresses Yawan. So we don't see Greek and go all over the place because some guy on the street corner said so. Getting back on topic now. So now we have to see how many heads that the Greeks have. Well, we already saw it in First Maccabees. It's singular 1. Let's get that witness back in 11 verses 2 and 3 of Daniel, picking up where we left off with the Persians. And by his strength, talking about the 4th Persian king, through his riches he shall stir up all against the realm of Yawan. This is not Edom. And a mighty king shall stand up. So this A is singular, meaning 1. The thighs had 1 head, which we already saw in First Maccabees. It's Alexander, son of Philip, the first over Yawan, which is the Greeks, not Edom. So as we tally up these kings that Daniel gave us, not me, don't blame me because it's going against indoctrination, we see that we have 7 heads. The 2 out of Babylon, the father and son team. I don't want to say team, but father and son rulership. Then you have the 4 heads that Daniel told us out of Persia. And after that, we have the 1 head, Philip, son of Alexander, totaling the 7 heads. Now, I know this is not NATO, EU, and what people love to hear. That's never proven. I'm not denying that that's not what has happened in our lifetime. However, that's just not what Daniel's talking about. Daniel tells us what he's talking about. So nobody has the jurisdiction to go outside of what Daniel is revealing to us. So if your head hasn't exploded, we're going to move forward. So remember back up when I showed the entire statute and the gold, the silver, the belly, Now we're going to deal with this iron and clay. Now the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to show the iron, whether it be legs or in the feet, because it's the same one nation. Then I'm going to cover what the clay is, because they are two separate nations. Let's begin. Daniel 2 and verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. Emphasis on that. For as much as iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things. Very important emphasis on that. And as iron that breaks all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. Now we're going to jump down to verse 43. And whereas you saw iron mixed with murray clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So again, as I said, whether it be in the legs or in the feet, the iron is one nation, then the clay is going to be shown as the other nation to get the revelation. Booyah, bars, no. But first we got to see how we even get from the third kingdom to the fourth kingdom, how we went from brass to iron. We're going to go back to First Maccabees, but we're going to go to chapter 8 from the top. Now, so much information is in this one chapter, so let's just get started. Now, Yehuda Maccabee, that's who that is, had heard of the Romans, that they, the Romans, were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly punchline, except all that join themselves unto them. And here we go. Make a league of amity with all that came unto them. That's how the Romans got down. So this is Judah Maccabee hearing about this. We're going to touch on that later on. Right? So, verses 1 all the way through for like forever, you hear Judah Maccabee hearing about the conquering that the Romans did, subduing 3 kings that Daniel also prophesied about. That's in this chapter. Now let's get back on this. Verse 9 says, moreover, how the Yowan, this is your Greeks. This has nothing to do with Edom. Don't let other people lie to you. How Yowan had determined to come and destroy them in black is the Romans, and that they, having knowledge thereof, sinned against them, the Greeks. A certain captain, and fighting with them, slew many of them, and carried away captives their women, their children, and spoiled them, and took possession of their lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. It was told him, besides how, punchline, they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms. Okay, emphasis on that, because that's the subduing all things, letting you know that this is the Romans. You have it in writing verbatim that this is the rise of the Roman Empire. It wasn't just magically poof, it was gradual, and we see them busting the Greeks' heads wide open. So now remember in verse 1 when I said that Judah Maccabee was hearing about the reputation of the Romans, they did this and they did that, woody woo woo woo. Well, the reason why is because of this. So I'm gonna hit pause on this particular chapter. We're gonna go to Jeremiah chapter 18 and verse 6, and I quote, O house of Israel, because Judah Maccabee is of the house of Israel. Cannot I do with you as this potter, says Yahweh? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hands, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. This is showing that the house of Israel is the clay. So we're going to see the consummation between the clay, Israel, and Rome, the iron, to become the feet and toes on the statue. It's that simple. We're going to see the coming to pass of this. It's almost as if it's a new kingdom, quote unquote, but here it goes. In 1 Maccabees chapter 8 and verse 20, it says, Yehuda Maccabee with his brethren, which is Israel, and the people of the Yehudim, have sent us unto you to make a confederacy, emphasis on that, in peace with you, and that we might be registered your confederates and friends. So that matter pleased the Romans well. After this, we see basically I'll say you can say a contract between Rome and Israel. If y'all go to war, we got y'all back, and vice versa. This is it. This is the foundation. This is why you have a New Testament. It's because of this. This is your clay literally mingling with your iron. Israel and Rome. This is in writing. It wasn't just poof magic. It's showing you how it happened. It came to pass in this chapter. So like I said, so much happened in chapter 8. All right, so now you at least see how we got here. So again, if your head hasn't exploded, we're going to move forward. So this is the fourth kingdom, the iron and the clay being Israel. One thing to really break down is the little horn. Now, a lot of people think it's important to quantify who exactly the names of the 10 horns are, but it's really insignificant because the importance is that this fourth kingdom has this little horn, which is of the 10 horns. It's not going to be detailed, the names of these 10 horns. It's just so insignificant. I see people doing mental gymnastics and backflips trying to figure out the identity of these 10 first kings of Rome. That's irrelevant. What is relevant, like I said, the little horn, which is a particular king, which the Bible, when you use the Bible in precepts, it identifies one king in the entire Roman rulership, and that's Tiberius Caesar. That's me talking. Let's get it in writing. So Luke 3 from the top says, now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar. After this, it goes on to his lower ranking subordinates, but we see that he's the ruler of the Roman Empire. The entire New Testament is the Roman rulership. Nothing to do with Edom. Again, I gotta emphasize on that because these are Romans. So this is your little horn. That's the focus because this is narrowing down to the time of Christ, which is the subject of our video. Now we have to show and see what democracy is and how it killed Hamashiach. This is very simple. We're going to stay in Lucas chapter 23, starting at verse 20. This is what democracy looks like, according to every aspect of history and law. It says Pilate, a Roman, not an Edomite, therefore, willing to release Yahusha, spoke again to them, but they cried, saying, crucify him, crucify him. If that's not enough right there, I can drop the mic. And he said unto them the third time, why? What evil has he done? I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. And they were instant with loud voices, requiring that he might be crucified. And the voices of them and the chief priests prevailed, and Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. This entire chapter, first point, is literally back and forth, your clay and your iron. That's the first point. Second, again, the topic of democracy. This is what democracy look, because democracy is anti-law. And speaking of law, the clay was given a law. In the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 2, it says, you, the clay, shall not follow a multitude to do evil. Crucify him, crucify him. Neither shall you speak in a cause to decline after many to pervert judgment. The judgment was death. It was perverted because even Pilate said, this man has not done anything wrong. Would you want to get rid of him for? I can't do nothing. Just do it anyway. This is what democracy looks like. Come over here. I'll show you. All right. So if you made it this far, you really about to be blessed. I do precepts even outside the Bible. Everything is as it is written. I take that serious. So you see Public Law 97-280 and the date, joint resolution. Here it is, authorizing and requesting the president to proclaim 1983 as the year of the Bible. Let's get some understanding. Let me scroll down some. I'm not going, this is just a 1-page document too. 1982. I wasn't even born, so you can't say I said something. I'm scoffing, mocking, whatever. You can say you just be full of shit. So, but whereas the Bible, the Word of God, has made a unique contribution in shaping the United States as a distinctive and blessed nation and people. Now, key point, because I can hear thoughts. This is the shaping of the United States. Not that it's still in the same shape today. I get it. Let's not slice a stick of gum in half sideways. I know. Let's keep going. Whereas deeply held religious convictions springing from the Holy Scriptures led to the early settlement of our nation. Okay. Whereas biblical teachings inspired the concepts of civil government. I wonder how is the civil law in the Torah? Okay. Because I know, man, that white man law. No, it's just civil law that are contained in our Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. You see, the Constitution is in like fashion to the 10 Commandments, and all the statutes and ordinances of whatever that follow is just like in the Torah. Those of us that actually know. We're not just New Testament. Well, Paul said, Paul said. Let's keep going. Whereas many of our great national leaders, among them presidents, Washington, Jackson, Lincoln, Wilson, this, blah, 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 blah. As in the words of President Jackson, that the Bible is the rock on which our republic stands. Okay. Emphasis on that our republic stands. So you see the straight line here. We're talking about civil government, concepts building the nation, and it's on a republic. Well, what we just saw in Luke was democracy. So we need to break these words down, republic and democracy. I have another document here. Let me scroll up to the top, because somebody will say I'm making up something. This is from the War Department, Training Manual 2000-25. This is a document that I have. I'll probably put this in as a link. I don't know, but maybe. I doubt Negroes will read it, but we're going to jump down to page 91. Let's get some understanding. So, the bottom of page 91, as you see, it says democracy, and I have it highlighted so it can stand out. So, democracy. Let's see if it lines up with what we saw in Luke and what Exodus told us not to do. Let's see. It is a government of the masses. Cool. Authority derived through mass meeting or any other form of direct expression. Nothing wrong with that. Watch this. Results in MOBocracy. The root word in MOBocracy is mob. You have a mob. The same type of mob you saw in Luke. Crucify him, crucify him. The same type of mob that Exodus said not to do. Okay? And going back to Exodus, that's the law. That's more on the Republican side. Okay? But let's keep pushing. Attitude towards property is communistic. What does that mean? Negating property rights. meaning they don't give a damn about your property rights. That's just like you go to court, you own a property, they just hand it over to whoever's the most popular. You feel me? They don't give a damn who. It's just, hey, we feel like this. Keeping it pushing. Let's get some more understanding. Attitude towards law is that the will of the majority shall regulate. Ugh. It's not facts and law, it's the will of the majority. Whether it be based upon deliberation or governed by passion, prejudice, or impulse, basically emotion. So your emotions is what's governing you. Crucify him, crucify him. He's done no evil. Still crucify him. Without restraint or regard to consequences, that's just dangerous. You take no regard to a consequence because there is no consequence. Just do as you will. Results in demagogism. And I have Magog highlighted right there. That's the ways of Magogism. Having nothing to do with Edom. Now we scroll down to the Republic, right? This is all in the training manual again. This is your government telling you what these things are. It's funny if it just hit me, if you're a Christian and you're Democrat, then you're anti your Messiah that you think that you're representing. But anyway, so Republic. Authority is derived through the election by the people of public officials best fitted to represent them. It's not what we have today. Okay, pre-selections. Attitude towards property is, get this, respect for laws and individuals' rights. Wow. And sensible economic procedure. That's where you get civil procedures that courts don't follow today because they're democratic courts. Attitude towards law is the administration of justice in accord with fixed principles. These are your statutes that people say, man, they get white man's law. It's the same thing in the Torah because we covered it right here. Okay. Coming back to this. Fixed principles and established evidence. Meaning there's proof of something to where you're going to apply the law, not just willy-nilly on the democracy side. Let's go down. It avoids the dangerous extreme of either tyranny or MOBocracy. Wait a minute. So it avoids, on the Republic side, it avoids tyranny and these angry mobs. It's opposite of crucify him, crucify him. It's, oh, crucify. Well, what did he do wrong? Kind of like what Pontius was talking about at first. It results in statesmanship, liberty, reason, and justice. You see the order and structure in the Republic side and the dangers on the democracy side, which is just crucify him, crucify him. Is governed by passion, prejudice, and impulse without restraint or regard to consequences. You can't say I made this up. You can't say it's white man's law. It is what it is. It's right in front of your face. That's what killed Christ. Crucify him, crucify him. That's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.